Hey guys, it's Brian here, and welcome back to another review for the Horror Man Slashback Challenge. And the theme that Joe the Horror Man has set for this week is titled Wacky Weapon Slashers. And the film I've chosen to review this week is 1981's Happy Birthday to Me. Now, this film stars Melissa Sue Anderson. She was in Little House on the Prairie, Glenn Ford, and a very young Matt Craven. Now, this film's got a weird structure to it. Essentially, this is a revenge slasher, but the weird thing about it is they don't show the originating incident not until much later in the film. So it's kind of confusing. It starts off with a young girl being murdered, and she's part of this group called the Top 10. And they got a serial killer running around, knocking off everybody in this group. But at the same time, one of the girls is having a birthday party coming up soon, so that's hence the title. That's why it's called what it's called. Um, this film is strange. Uh, well, first I'll get into it, like the reason why I chose this one right off the bat, and that's because of the infamous shish kebab kill. Um, Now the thing about that is, this person on the cover, I don't think he's in the movie, and he's definitely not the person that actually gets killed that way in the film. It's actually somebody else. There is a guy that kind of looks like him though, but I don't think he's the guy. Now this film is littered with red herrings in it, and it's weird because a character will act normal for like, a whole bunch of scenes until one scene where they don't, and they'll get this crazed look in their eyes, and they don't act natural. It's really odd. Now one of the guys that's a red herring in this film is almost like a dead ringer for Keith Gordon, who was the star of John Carpenter's Christine, as well as Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill. And I get the impression they really wanted to hire Keith Gordon, and they couldn't get him for whatever reason. So they got some guy and dressed him up and said, "Look, just this is how you're gonna play this," and because he kind of looks like a Keith Gordon stand-in. Um, Another thing I wanted to say too is this film, the kill scenes aren't as good as they should have been, and they were most of them were edited down, so it's not as gory as it should have been. And I think it was in response to Friday the 13th getting through uncut pretty much when it first came out. I know it was still cut, but it was still pretty gory for an R-rated movie back in its time. So I think as a response, this one had its kill sequences cut back. But the Shish kill I thought was kind of amusing, and that's the main reason why I chose this one. Another thing about this movie too is this film doesn't have a slasher feel to it. It has more of a giallo feel. I get the sense that when this film was commissioned, they brought a writer in, and he watched a giallo movie instead of a slasher film. Hence, it's got that slasher feel that the killer uses like a straight razor in some scenes and like black gloves and stuff like that, which is probably to disguise who the killer is. Although partway through they kind of tell you who the killer is, but it's like a misdirection kind of. Now this film was also they changed the ending because they had another more supernatural type like explanation, but they dropped it and they went with something else. So it kind of has like a Scooby Doo type feel to it, and it doesn't match the rest of the film, unfortunately. And I think it actually kind of hurts the film that they did that. They should have just left it as it was and went with the supernatural ending as opposed to what they ended up doing. It would have made more sense because the clues aren't there. If you rewatch this film, the clues aren't there. Now, this is a film I haven't seen since the 80s on VHS, and I remember liking it back then. I don't like it as much now, unfortunately. But of course, with these 80s films, there's always that 80s nostalgia that goes with it. I can't really recommend this one, but I'm sure you guys all like it. I'm sure everybody has this in their collection. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. That's our review. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time.